And it's off. Analfister versus Amingo.
What?
Okay, alright. Anal was this type.
Oh yeah, remove 5 minutes, quickly. That's the
Right. Wait, one more minute. There we go. Alright guys. Analfister versus Amingo, now it's actually happening. Got a 10-minute prelim match. This is Anal's second fight, correct, in the league?
Yeah, both.
And for Amingo as well.
Yeah.
Amingo competed in the EU tournament, which was the second Pro League event ever, several months ago. It might have been like the second ever EU Pro League fight. And Anal competed right recently on the last event.
Yeah, he was unlucky enough to be matched up with one of the finalists, Anus, in the first round. So yeah, that's his only fight so far. And Analfister fought Christers at the last event.
Yeah, so Analfister's coming in off of a recent win, and Amingo is coming in off of a distant loss. And in the first minute and a half of this match, we see almost 1,000 points out of Anal, and Amingo, seemingly not able to perfect block or land a hit, still has less than 100 points a minute and a half in. And now he's at 2 health, and he's barely done 13 damage to Anal. So very, very dominant start out of Anal. Amingo really has to wake up and get his head in the game here.
Yeah,
his ping is perfectly fine, so this isn't a lag issue. He just really seems to be almost like... Okay, now he's not even fighting.
What?
So, I'm not sure what Amingo is doing right now, but it seems like he's in the middle of like texting his mom and playing the game at the same time, so he's given like 5 seconds at a time. Oh wow.
He's throwing an overhand, he's going
back. Amingo's sort of playing like he's almost trying to play with one hand right now, like he's only attacking, moving, or blocking at a time, and it's never one consecutively with the other. It's one at a time. He's switching between the tasks very slowly. It's like he's moving his index finger to the space bar, and then moving over to the W key, and then moving over to throw a jab. Like, yeah, this is some interesting. I do not remember Amingo's first fight being like this at all. I don't want to be too hard on the guy because he's only level 5, but no, I remember his fight actually. He was not looking like this. He clearly knew how to play the game. He was just up against a really tough opponent. But Anal, despite only being a yellow belt, is making very quick work of Amingo and really just making him look like an amateur. Which he is with only 5 levels, but... No, Amingo did not look like this last time he fought in the Pro League. He seems to be focused on another task right now while he's playing or something. Oh, but he's starting to come in now. Oh, 4 times block spam, loses all of his points.
Yeah, we now have like a 2,700 points.
Amingo just stood there and ate a head kick. Amingo just watched Analfister head kick him and didn't respond whatsoever.
Block spamming. He's... Oh, we got a knockdown. Yeah, he's kind of going for like that overhand spam, mixing in the axe kick.
Amingo is genuinely fully spamming attacks right now. He's actually just slamming his keyboard. He was just riding on Anal's shoulders for a second. Look at him go!
Oh my god.
This might be fight of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my god! Look at him go! Oh my god!
Oh my god, it's working for him! It's working for him!
KO's Anal!
Making a comeback!
He's making a comeback, boys! He actually started using
like a punching bag but moving as Amingo like overhand.
Oh my
Oh.
god, Anal gives him a taste of his own medicine with the short left.
A lot of trash talk coming out of analfister.
Amingo's coming in with that classic approach of spamming between overhands and alternating neutral kicks, propelling himself with forward momentum without actually doing any walking. Just by the sheer attack motion alone.
I feel like analfister needs to use some clinch breaks here, because if he does that, he's definitely going to fall over while he's spamming attacks like this.
You know, as funny as this fight is right now, Amingo spamming is actually working against Anal, because let's be real, guys, as quick of work as Anal was making of Amingo, it's pretty clear that he doesn't have the fundamentals of the game down enough to actually prevent a spammer. He's not using the perfect block effectively, he's not using the clench break, he's not trying to catch him with a head kick or something else that has a lot of range. All the things that you should be doing when you're up against like, you can't be throwing hooks against somebody who's spamming left and right overhands. You're gonna get caught. Like, just because it's spamming doesn't mean that you can write him off. It's still a dangerous thing that you have to... There's several ways to counter it, and none of them are difficult to achieve, but you just have to have the wherewithal and be paying enough attention to counter it.
Yeah.
And Anal is failing to do that right now, as Amingo has gone from a 3,000 plus point disadvantage to having made up half that in the last 2 minutes. Literally by spamming between overhands. It was a very slow start for Amingo, but as soon as his older brother got to the PC, it started going down.
Yeah,
I'm not liking that.
Remember all the good approach now, sort of just keeping his distance, landing those high kicks. Just this is working well for him. He'll just keep this up, and he'll easily maintain this 2,000 point lead he's got right now. And then when he's close, he's got to use those clinch breaks, which he still isn't doing, but that would really help him because he'd definitely knock go down.
I'd say this adjustment out of Anal, though, is pretty indicative of his skill as a player. The fact that he was able to adapt, even if it took him way longer than it should have, the fact that he was finally able to recognize what he was doing wrong and start making the necessary adjustments is really something that sort of just proves that you fundamentally have what it takes to be a competitor.
Yeah, because he's doing well when the fight's at long range. He just still needs to just start using those clinch breaks because doesn't seem to know what's happening when he's
Okay, so Anal's listening to this stream, so he clearly started throwing that head kick because I told him to. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Good for him, though. Alright, let's give Amingo some advice then, if they're gonna be listening. I don't think actually, I somehow doubt Amingo found his way to the stream.
Maybe he was like watching the stream instead of watching a screen when he was initially fighting, so he was like pressing all the buttons, but he wasn't tapped into the game. He was just full screen on YouTube, and he was like,
oh my god, his combos were actually him just typing in DW2 PL in the YouTube search bar. Holy shit, you cracked the case, Hawk. Yeah, this is kind of like during quarantine, those UFC fights, the fighters would oftentimes be able to hear DC screaming about the takedown. I'm not saying it ever affected the outcome of a fight, but there was that really funny moment where Dustin Poirier told Dan Hooker to listen to DC after he eye poked him for like the 3rd time in their epic 4 or 5 rounder that they had over quarantine. It's sort of like that. It's like we had an empty arena, and we're in the caster's booth, and Anal's hearing us shouting from the caster's desk. Yeah, asking us for better opponents. Sure, buddy, we'll give you better opponents. I think you've earned it. Okay. Alright, Amingo time!
Is this a forfeit from Amingo?
Alright, I'm leaving the lobby. That's a fucking forfeit.
Your life, by the way. Oh, I think the fight's still actually going on.
No. At 30 seconds left, he tapped. At 30 seconds left, that's a verbal tap.
No. He said end it, then he said your life, by the way. So I think he's
Oh
actually
no, that's a
trashed
verbal tab. You can't turn around and say I was just kidding. What the fuck? All right, I'll let it. I'll
Okay.
let it slide. I'll let it
Yeah,
slide.
alright, so analfister wins that one.
Yeah, I kind of figured nothing would change in those last 30 seconds after
Yeah,
that.
that was quite an interesting match.
Yeah, guys. Honestly, I really have absolutely nothing to say about that, and I think we should just move on and pretend like that never happened. So yeah, last minute replacement for Y, as his opponent ended up not being able to make it. Zavis just simply didn't show up. So Szadeťu, ranked number 3 in the world, is putting his spot on the line against Y, who is a leaderboard player in game, but has yet to actually fight in the league and earn himself a ranking.
Well,
That being said,
didn't win. It was just a really close match with Quad.
Yeah, so Y's his counterpart, the other half of the Enju clan, Ender, recently put on a very good performance against Quad, and they
all the
time. So I feel like Y, from what I've seen of him, I've fought Y a couple times. I'd say his skill set is definitely comparable to Ender's, and Ender's is a pretty fierce guy. So I think this should be a good fight. Y should be able to defend himself against Szadeťu here. I have full confidence. Timing some really good overhands, catching Szadeťu in the waist, crumpling his body like an empty Pop-Tart wrapper. Speaking of that, I want me a Pop-Tart right now.
Not exactly sure what happened there. It's like he sort of jumped up in the air and there was a collision that caused a crystal hit.
Y is timing some really good overhands as Szadeťu is stepping in. He's doing a lot of damage. These guys are pretty much neck and neck in points and health right now. This is very back and forth first round here. Szadeťu landing a very, very devastating uppercut as Y comes in and then finishes him with an overhand that sends him to the ground, leaves him at 5 HP now. And Szadeťu with another well-timed hook takes Y out for the first KO and a 400-point lead. Hanging on to that last 10 health. Let's see how much more damage we can do against Y here before he gets his first KO. Steps in with a teep kick, immediately has a huge hook land, and then capitalizes with more kicks, landing a big combo against Y right now, but Y's block game is pretty decent. Does not block that one though, and gets sent straight to the ground, but as Szadeťu tries to capitalize with an axe kick, Y does land the perfect block that he was looking for. Both players at very similar health right now. Y times his short overhand as Szadeťu stepping in very well. KOs him, but loses 70 health to Szadeťu's 10. So they're now 1-1 KO, but a 70 health advantage for Szadeťu. So it's looking like a pretty convincing start from the Yankee with no brim. There's blood particle effects on the meme. I was not expecting that either. Oleg, is this on purpose? Are you supposed to be able to get blood on the meme? Interesting. Y lands an overhand and then somehow combos the overhand straight into a spinning back fist and still connects with the elbow. Tony Ferguson-esque plays coming out of Y right now. But Szadeťu, always slick with the counters, sends Y to the ground, breaks all that momentum he had. These two are just trading some very, very heavy blows right now. Lots of head movement, lots of footwork here. These two are slipping and countering, just really eating shots from each other. Very back and forth in the center of the octagon here tonight. Very exciting first 5 minutes here in Szadeťu versus Y. This is shaping up to be a real barn burner of a match.
Ooh, good left hook by,
as usual. As usual, Y steps in with a teep kick. Yeah, Y has been stepping in with a teep kick into a short overhand a lot tonight, and it's been landing for him.
Whoa! Yankee with no brim!
Szadeťu, more very fancy footwork, does a lot of spinning around, manages to slip Y's attacks, come in with a counter.
Yeah,
and he's at a
long-range feints.
Definitely.
Why he keeps on charging into them, and it's working sometimes, but that's why Szadeć's landing so many of these counters, because he's trying to draw Y in with these feints and Y's falling for it.
Yeah,
so
Szadeću just...
Y needs to be a bit more patient here.
Szadeću just caught Y coming in so hard that Y ended up getting sent into the cage and his head actually stuck into the mesh of the fence for a second.
Yeah, that was... haven't seen that many times before.
It's kind of like when you get launched up with a good uppercut on the train map and your head gets stuck in the ceiling. Almost kind of look like a horizontal version of that. For just a second though.
Yeah.
Gravity did the rest of the work though, pulled him right off the fence.
Yeah, so I think what Y should do here is try to use some of those neutral right kicks at long range to sort of hit Szadeću while he's doing all this spinning around and feinting.
Most definitely, and Y also needs to get his head in the game because he's whiffing these perfect blocks right now. Szadeću is really starting to tee off. We're looking at 3 KOs for Szadeću to 2 for Y, but that's quickly about to become 4 to 2, and Szadeću's about to have double the KOs of Y, which is not unusual, but you do not want to be 2 KOs down only 5 minutes into the match. He has a lot of time to come back, but on the other hand, you really don't want to have that. It's not about the actual number, but it's about the percentage of the KOs. Y really wants to stay within 1 KO of Szadeću here. Szadeću's only at 30 health, so it's not a huge concern yet, but despite the KO number, the point difference is really telling the story here. Szadeću only has about 30 health on Y, all things considered, when you factor in all of his lives and the aggregate health bars they've had, but about 1,000 point lead though. I'd say that could be attributed to how many perfect blocks are landing for Szadeću and how many Y is missing. And of course these very delicate counters, very well timed, very deliberate, very delicate counters that Szadeću's throwing at just the right time, doing huge damage, getting lots of knockdowns and lots of critical hits.
Yeah, I think you really have to sort of just keep at a distance when you're fighting Szadeću, because he's very good at landing those close range critical hits. Yeah, we just keep seeing Y charging in, and then like right now he landed a good hit, but for every hit he's landing, Szadeću's landing 2 or 3 usually. And he definitely needs to change his strategy here. But this is still a really good performance against the number 3 ranked contender in the EU.
Whoa! Yankee with no brim!
Y is certainly making no less than a statement tonight, win or lose.
Good overhand there.
Gets knocked down, stands right up immediately. Like a bat out of hell with the overhand to send Szadeću down and reverse the positions. Y piecing Szadeću up with a simple overhand into a hook combo. Simple but effective. All it takes is good timing.
Whoa! Yankee with no brim!
Yeah, that was interesting. Szadeću got the crystal hit points, but Y got the perfect block points at the same time and didn't get knocked down or take any damage.
Doesn't seem to bother Szadeću though. Slick KO, deadly ground and pound on Y. Y hits Szadeću right in the jaw and rocks him. Sends him to the ground with an overhand. He's teeing off with these kicks to the body right now. Szadeću's taking some big damage. Y, I think that was an axe kick. Just the way that his leg caught Szadeću's body sends him flying into the air, and then he comes in with a hook kick that lands straight to the liver of Szadeću. But now Szadeću's picking up a couple of combos, a couple of consecutive strikes of his own. keeping Y on his toes and managing to hold on to that last 5 health, but Y steps in with the teep cake overhand, a move that we've seen countless times out of him tonight, and again it lands for him. KO Szadeťu. Now he is only 1 KO behind. 5-6. But still, 1,000 points down. As I say that, gets 200 back.
Good hook kick there.
I always seem to have a cold during fight night. It's some sort of a curse. So I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. By ladies and gentlemen, I mean all 15 of you that are watching.
Come back here. That was a really good combination there.
Yeah, Y is starting to seems like he got a little bit of a second win here. It seems like at some point in the last couple of minutes he managed to catch his breath and regain his composure, and now he's starting to find success like he was at the start. I think it's really just down to him deciding to attack more, because Szadeťu's ability to bait Y into attacking and then countering him has been what's doing all this damage and what's giving Szadeťu all these points. So Y figured out, alright, maybe I should start attacking first again. Alright, I gotta switch it up. Gotta be hard to predict. You gotta always be coming in with a different approach from minute to minute of the fight, or else somebody at as high a level of Szadeťu is going to catch on, and you're going to stop finding success. There's no one strategy that's going to work for 15 minutes against Szadeťu. It's just not going to happen. He's going to catch on, and he's going to catch on quick, so you got to switch it up, and that's exactly what Y is doing. Displaying very, very good game sense, high fight IQ, good fundamental understanding of the game. Y only a couple hundred points behind Szadeťu now, with a little bit less than 4 minutes left to go. We'll see what happens here. This could be an absurd upset, but I don't want to speak too soon. The sweat is trickling down Szadeťu's balls right now, guys. I promise you. At this point, though, he's starting to get that point lead back up, so I feel like... Oh, he eats a huge combo from Y, manages to stay on his feet. But Y's the one hitting the counters now. It seems like he gained momentum, and in one fell swoop, in the same movement, took momentum from Szadeťu. Szadeťu's really gotta show his mental toughness and ability to stay in the game and face adversity right now, yeah, which he's doing with this excellent head movement.
Yeah, it's about 800 points, and it was just a couple of minutes ago, it was about 400.
You see, now you see Szadeťu the one leading the engagements. That's exactly what I was saying earlier, guys. Szadeťu adapts. That's what he does. Any player at a level like Szadeťu, which there aren't many of them, is gonna be able to read the adjustments that you make and find the appropriate counter adjustment. But why? Teeing off with some good combos. KOs are 8-8, and only a couple hundred points behind yet again for Y. He's really keeping Szadeťu on his toes tonight.
Nice clinch break there, throwing Szadeťu to the ground.
Minute and a half left. About 500 point lead for Szadeťu. But he lands a massive knockdown, critical damage, significant strike. The trifecta. In a beautiful counter hook against Y. And has him down to 1 HP now. Lands the body kick. Gets around Y's guard. And Szadeťu back at the kill advantage. It was scary for a sec. Alright, alright. Szadeťu talking a little bit of trash. Letting Y know, hey, whatever you thought was happening for the last couple minutes, it's done now. It's finished, buddy. You shouldn't have gotten your hopes up. Sorry to break your, sorry to piss on your parade here, but this is my show. Ooh, deadly axe kick. Sort of looked like a knee stamp, which is what Robert Whittaker broke or pulled or something to the Darren Till's knee in the first round of their 5-rounder. They had also over quarantine.
And Szadeťu gets the win, but just as he won that, he was flung up into the air and killed by an overhand.
Yeah, that was a very, very impressive performance by Y. He's definitely proved himself that he's not to be taken lightly, and I think Y is definitely going to see himself fighting for another ranked spot for his next fight for sure.
Definitely.
All right, and we're off. Both fighters coming in, trading knockdown shots right off the gate. This is what I like to see. Well-timed head kick from Austin sends Helking up against the cage, and now he's teeing off with boxing combos against the fence, doing big damage, taking advantage of that spinning backhand and really trying to make himself hard to hit. But Helking, very slick with the overhands and the hooks. Landed a lot of hits on his own, despite the fact that they're largely being blocked by Austin. I'd say their output is pretty similar, but Austin's blocking has been way more effective than Helking's, and his shots have been just simply harder to block. They've had a bigger variety. Helking's been mostly boxing-centric, and that's why, despite the similar output, Austin's doing much better in the health department right now. And he has quadrupled the points of Helking and is likely to get the first KO. I say as Helking starts to land some big shots. This is looking a lot more back and forth now, but Austin getting some pretty convincing damage and got Helking down to 10 health while holding on to 40 of his own. Doing good feigning these, doing a lot of work by feigning a backhand and then going into a kick. Very, very tricky feints out of Austin. Manages to get down to 15 health and hold on to it, give Helking his first KO. But a very back and forth first round indeed. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Let's see, what's the health looking like? Helking about 700 points behind. 2 KOs for Austin to 1 to Helking. It looks like for the short moments that I was gone, Austin must have made short work of Helking there for the second KO. Austin, as usual, doing a lot of very, very tricky spinning attacks. Hard to hit, hard to block. These little mini, guess you could call it something like Beyblade. Although I would not consider that a classic Beyblade like Hank or Kay would do, or me. But still, Austin knows how to make himself hard to hit. Knows how to be hard to block. And he's proving to be a handful for Helking right now. He's landing a lot of these neutral kicks, a lot of head kicks, a lot of body kicks, or low kicks, I suppose. Then of course coming in with the wheel kicks and the hook kicks. Meanwhile, Helking is mostly just going for the uppercuts and the overhands and the hooks. Or mostly hooks and overhands. Helking gets sent out of the cage by Austin. Austin throwing some shadow boxing combos just to get into Helking's head a little bit. But Helking, as soon as he lands, starts doing some big damage. And two are trading very back and forth. But Austin ends up getting his third KO. And despite the fact that he's down to 10 health, he's about doubled his point lead since the last KO. So Helking is certainly starting to lose momentum here. He spawns and takes 60 damage from Austin before he's able to take those last couple of points away. And that point lead very quickly went up another 50%. Now up to 1,500, roughly. But as I say that, Helking starts to land some hits of his own. Helking has been doing very well with these counters and not being hit so often by these kicks coming out of Austin. And he's made back a huge percentage of that point deficit. Austin comes in with the Beyblade, ends it with the hook, and then walks off with the free cam. But despite this flashy display, it has to be noted that Helking has earned back a very, very significant margin of points in a short amount of time. We have 9 minutes left. And Helking's only about 600 points behind. And then he KOs Austin, and now he's only about 500 points behind. So we're still back and forth. It was not looking like the best start out of Helking, but at the same time, it's looking like Austin's got his hands full tonight. Helking's not going to let Austin take him out of there early. You know, he's in this for the long haul, for those late rounds. Definitely an exciting fight so far. Huge damage being traded. And Helking is actually 300 points ahead of Austin now. Helking's been landing a lot of big shots. And look at that. Look at that little hook counter that he just landed. He's been reacting and adapting because Austin's been doing a lot of these Beyblades. He's been doing a lot of spinning kicks. And Helking is starting to read these patterns and come up with the appropriate counters, as a Pro League player should do. But that being said, Austin just deadly with the uppercut. Takes Helking out again. But Helking's only 1 KO behind. 4 KOs. Austin has 5. Helking is being very competitive right now. And actually still holding on to his point lead, which is very impressive. The fact that Helking was behind for this long and is now starting to really put up an offense against Austin That axe kick was so well timed, threw Austin right off balance. And Austin block spamming, which means he's showing a little bit of panic. You know, I do that a lot in my fights when I'm feeling threatened by a combo that I see coming. I might just not have enough confidence in my perfect block, and I might get caught block spamming and lose some points as a result because I just try to get the perfect block by luck. And that's something you do when you're starting to really eat one too many shots and you need a second to just step back and recover. Helking is really putting the pressure on Austin right now in a huge way. Austin's resorting to spamming these overhands, I assume that he's doing that because he wants to get a knockdown so that Helking can stop unleashing hell on him on the feet. So Austin, out of desperation, throws overhand after overhand, and Helking just keeps countering it. So Austin's just digging himself a deeper hole, landing some good perfect blocks though. That being said, Helking slipping Austin's back fist and then coming in with some counters as soon as Austin comes back up. Austin somehow KOs Helking. Not sure what he did to hit him there. And then free camps. Despite the fact that Helking in the last 45 seconds has ran up a nearly 800 point lead on Austin from a deficit that in the first 5 minutes of the fight got as big as 1500 in the opposite direction in favor of Austin. This comeback from Helking, if it manages to keep going through the next 5 minutes, could really be something of beauty. Helking again with the axe kick. Austin's got to get his head back in the game because things are not looking too good for him right now. Helking just absolutely teeing off with these combos right now. Austin having no counter. He's not landing the perfect blocks. And his offense just isn't adequate right now for Helking. The amount of pressure and the sheer volume and output and power of these attacks coming out of Helking, sorry, it's just too much for Austin right now. He's not getting the perfect blocks he needs, and he's not getting the counters he needs. And that's why this 1,000 point disadvantage going into the last 3 minutes might mean a victory for Helking. I say that as Austin starts to land some big unblocked hits of his own and KOs Helking, holding on to that last 30 HP, and takes a 1,000 point deficit in the span of maybe 2 or 3 combos to about 500 points, to about half of what it was. And now Austin's timing these overhands very well. Lands a very, very damaging wheel kick as Helking standing up off the ground, and Helking gets off the ground and immediately lands with a counter hook of his own to knock Austin against the fence. Back and forth action. Austin steps in, Helking times the overhand though. Gets another KO and says some shit in Russian that I don't understand. But I bet it sounded badass. Another block spam auto. Austin block spams even though he was only getting hit with a axe kick, which is a sign of panic, I would say. But Helking at 7 health, looking like Austin's going to get this KO. If Austin manages to get this KO, which he does, he could get the points equal. As I say that, 7,006 points for Austin to 7,007 points for Helking in the last minute and 45. This is about as close as a match can be. And I don't want to speak too early, but so far, We're looking at fight of the night here. This is incredible stuff. And Austin wraps Helking wraps himself around Austin's ankles, and Austin just pulverizes him, just jumps up and down, stomps him into the ground by manipulating his foot movement, by using certain attacks that he knows are gonna make his feet collide with Helking's body that he was standing on top of in some way as to do damage without actually hitting him with a real attack. Some very, very high fight IQ, some good game sense coming out of Austin as he mounts this impressive comeback against a comeback. What a fight this has been. But Austin's running up a several 100-point lead right now, which this late in the fight is going to be hard to come back from, I say, as Helking walks on him and just spams kicks to do what Austin was doing to him earlier, trying to walk on his body to do collision damage and take advantage of the way the physics engine works. I say Helking comes in with an axe kick and Austin throws him off of his feet, sends him to the ground. Helking stands up, perfect blocks all of Austin's hooks, and Austin sends him out of the arena, and as he lands, he gets KO'd! And Austin with the walk-off, with the free count walk-off. This is insane! And then as soon as he spawns, Helking smashes him with an overhand. Perfect blocks Austin's axe kick attempt, but eats a shot to the back of the head as he stands up. Regardless, unless Helking lands something huge here, something absolutely huge, he's not going to be able to win. And Austin comes back against the comeback, and after an insane final 30 seconds of the fight, walks away with a dub. That was insane. Alright, let's get it on. Quad versus Shears. Quad, one of the more OG players in the game. He's a black belt, which means I think level 70 and above. I think he might be in high 70s to low 90s, I think is the range that Quad's within. Cheers only an orange belt, but had some very good performances in the league, as has Quad. Quad coming off of a win against Ender, and Shears coming off of a win against Stivka, or has he had a fight since then?
Yeah, it was Stivka. Yeah, he's ranked 10 at the moment, and Quad is ranked 12.
Oh, I'm surprised I remembered that. So yeah, it should be a really good fight. I'm gonna go vacuum my room for ticks, and I'll be right back. So you guys listen to Hawk's soothing voice. Probably be saying a lot less stuff than I do, and probably saying a lot less dumb things than me too. So it'll be a good balance. So I'll be back.
Well, I mean, last fight I thought Wyatt had a fight when he hadn't, so I got Wyatt under mixed up. So no shortage of fun stuff from the other. But yeah, Quad is off to a pretty good start here, but Cheers is starting to run some counters of his own. Quad just missing with that overhand. So Cheers. Yeah, Cheers is using a lot of these clinch breaks. He's getting quite close, sort of pushing Quad to the cage and trying to land these overhands and hooks. Good perfect blocks out of Quad. Nice spinning back fist. Yeah, they're both on low health, so there's a lot of falling over going on here.
Yeah, Oleg's right. If you can turn your mic gain up at all, it'd be good.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's way better. I'm about to turn my vacuum on. I'll be back on the desk in like less than 5 minutes probably.
Good overhand from Cheers. Yeah, Quad seems to be throwing more attacks here, but Cheers is just focusing on throwing like individual powerful overhands and hooks. Quad's got almost a 1,000-point lead here, so his approach is working better.
guys like the sound of my vacuum?
Oh no. Yeah, Quad's usually the one attacking first, and Cheers is sort of waiting to perfect block and then land counters, or just land counters. It's not really feinting or sort of throwing attacks at Cheers at Quad without Quad attacking first. Gets his first KO. Quad is now at a 1 KO advantage and 1,000 points ahead. Good perfect blocks from Cheers. Quad lands a brilliant head kick though. And Cheers down again. Yeah, I'd like to see a bit more variety in Cheers' combinations, and I think he could benefit from throwing more attacks as well. There's at the moment he's just throwing like overhands and hooks really, and he's not throwing them very often, so Quad is sort of finding him quite predictable at the moment, I think, and that's why he's able to maintain this point lead. That's a good hook by Cheers there though. Quad gets a third KO. Quad's on 7 HP here. He's just holding on to it by knocking Cheers over.
Alright, we're all vacuumed up. Looking at the points right now, 1,000 lead for Quad. I've been listening to Hawk's commentary, and I definitely know what you're talking about. Just looking at their levels of experience, really, you would sort of expect Quad to be coming in with more sophistication than Cheers, and just because of how much more of the game that he's played and how many more fighters he's actually seen and fought against and been up against, Quad's tool set should realistically be far more complex than Cheers is at this stage. And in a situation like that, the best path to victory for Cheers is always just going to be having cleaner reactions than Quad, having better timed counters, better perfect blocks, that sort of thing. Those sort of fundamental reaction-based things are sort of what can separate you from the rest of people at your level and being able to beat a player who's been around longer than you and knows more attacks than you.
Quad's landing some good combinations here. Seems like Cheers might be trying to sort of increase the variety of his attacks a bit, because I saw him throwing a spinning back fist and throwing some straight as well.
Oshi lands a hook kick that's clean and lands so hard on Cheers it sends him out of the arena. Cheers, perfect blocking.
Yeah, Cheers is very
doing some dirty boxing, throwing the uppercuts and the hooks and the clench, doing decent damage to Quad here. Cheers is still in this fight, but he's got to hold on to this last 3 HP. He's got to land these perfect blocks, which he's managing to do even though he's barely even standing. He's out on his feet. Quad just keeps on hitting him and hitting him and hitting him, and he's just eating these shots and walking forward like a zombie. The only problem is he's not coming up with any offense of his own. Cheers is not really doing any damage against Oshi. He's just eating significant strikes and earning perfect block points. But that's about it. Quad finally manages to land the hook to the jaw that knocks Cheers out and puts the KOs at 4-2. Looking pretty dominant right now for Quad. It's looking like Cheers might not have what it takes to get around the finesse and the variety of attacks that Quad has. But we'll see if he's able to just land crisp enough counters and land enough perfect blocks, which he's been pretty consistent with so far, to inch his way forward in the points, or if Quad's just gonna be too much for him.
Yeah, Cheers is definitely doing a very good job with these perfect blocks. He just needs to make sure he's posing more of a sort of...
Exactly, offensive threat.
Because, like, even if he perfect blocks 4
if you're not throwing a counter, it's worthless.
Yeah, because if Cheers just needs to land, like, if he lands even a third of his attacks, he's still going to get more points than Cheers will just for perfect
Definitely.
blocking. I'd also like to see a bit more variety in Cheers' movement as well, because he kind of just moves in a straight line. He's not really moving in and out, so he's just sort of predictably walking into Quad's attacks. I think that's working against him.
Agreed. We need a lot more sort of vertical movement out of Cheers, and a lot less walking forward and holding W. Or D, I suppose.
That's good feints there though. He landed a nice crystal hit with the overhand as Quad got up. Yeah, you can see here he's just sort of like moving in and perfect blocking and then attacking. The problem is, like, you saw him land 3 perfect blocks successfully there, but there's just always that chance he misses the perfect block, and then if that's a critical hit, that's like 200 points to Quad, and you need a lot of perfect blocks to make up for that. So he just needs to be landing more of his attacks, and it's not really doing that at the moment. Good hook out of Quad there. Capitalizes on Cheers missing the overhand and dashes in and lands that left hook. It's 5th KO now. With perfect blocks out of both of them here. A nice head kick by Cheers. Good clinch break. A nice overhand to get his 4th KO.
3 minutes left and about 1,000 points disadvantage for Cheers. It's looking like it's possible right now, but we're going to need to see a lot more damaging strikes, significant strikes landing, knockdowns landing for Cheers, because he's largely just been eating Quad's offense this entire game and getting enough perfect blocks and landing enough overhands that are well timed to keep himself in the fight. But Quad's really starting to tee off right now, get good combos, get big points in, and starting to widen that point gap. About 1,200 advantage for Quad right now.
That was interesting. Quad didn't attempt to attack Cheers as he was getting back into the cage, and Cheers was able to just land a nice left hook. That was a brilliant axe kick there, really well timed. It's landing some strikes as Quad's going off the ground. Yeah, that low health is salting the poor bounce for Cheers, and yeah, good overhand there, sending him out of the cage. Nice head kick from Quad. Brilliant left hook. Yeah, that spinning left hook to that spinning hook kick to left hook combo is really effective. Damage in this game is based on momentum, so when you spin around to do the hook kick,
big head kick
after it, the hook does a lot more damage than it would if you just threw it by itself. Nice left overhand by Cheers there. Well-timed spinning hook kick. Cheers blocks the spinning back fist as he's getting up. Yeah, almost a 2,000 point lead for Quad here. That's 5 seconds.
Cheers really did what he could throughout the fight, but it was pretty clear that Quad just had him beat in terms of how many weapons he had. Quad really was giving him all types of different combos, and all that Cheers was really able to do against such fast and high velocity attacks was perfect block and try to land an overhand of his own. But I just don't think that there was enough sophistication in his approach to really overcome Quad, and as usual, Quad proving that he's a world-class player. Really, I'd say this was no big surprise. Cheers put on a good fight as I thought he would, but Quad is something else, man, and I really think that the top 5 got to look out for him in the near future. We got one level 25 and one level 30. This 10 minutes should tell us a lot. Oh. Let's go. Let's go. Subtract one more minute.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, this 10 minutes should. Who knows? We might find out one of these guys is the real deal here. You know, I have confidence that we're going to see something impressive out of these two, but we'll see.
Both of them landing nice crystal hits to start this off.
Ko coming in with that spinning back fist into a hook. Landing right on Leon's jaw. Good head kick for Koa as Leon's stepping in. Times it very well. Knocks him down. And then as he stands up, starts piecing him up with the hands and sends him right back to the ground. And then does it again. Leon needs to start landing these perfect blocks. Koa's getting huge damage in. That Leon's not doing much to counter. I say it, but he's coming in with the straights and the hooks of his own. Leon's getting his knockdowns, starting to do his own damage. And it's looking like we got ourselves a fight for the next 8 minutes and 50 seconds, ladies and gents. Liking the looks of this so far. Both fighters stepping in. Leon with the low kick, Koa with the hook. Both of them landing. Leon knocks Koa down with the axe kick. And he opts not for the ground and pound, but to try the timing attack as he stands up. Koa ends up perfect blocking, and now the two are trading back and forth shots that are all getting blocked. Doing little minimal damage to each other. Nobody's knocking the other down. I say as Koa eats a big uppercut and then counters. Responds with an overhand of his own. Gets the first KO. 8 health for Koa. About a 400 point advantage. And we're off. This fight is officially underway. Koa with the big hook. Another knockdown on Leon. Leon's blocks are leaving something to be desired here. He's getting knocked down over and over and over again by Koa right now. It's not looking too good for him. Koa Gets rocked on his feet, but manages to find his footing enough to land a big overhand. And Leon is not blocking any of these shots. He's just eating shot after shot after shot to the face. Koa doing a little bit of trash talk. He's really, really putting the pressure on Leo right now, putting a pace on him. And Leo just seems to not have any response.
Say that he lands a nice combination though, but he's still behind by about 1,000 points.
Oh, Leon times a really good overhand while Koa's rocked on his feet and almost stumbling over.
Koa trying to bait Leon in with an overhand at long range. Nice head kick there, counters the...
very, very well timed. Yeah, that was a very fundamental move. That's one of the first sort of counters that I deliberately learned on my path to becoming a top level DW2 players. I went into casual lobbies and I practiced baiting overhands and coming in with that head kick. If dismemberment was enabled, there was a high chance Leon's head would have flown off. That attack does big damage. You know, it's big momentum bringing your foot from the ground to the head, and it's also big momentum bringing your head up and then swinging your fist and dipping it down to the ground. You know, that's a foot going up into a head going down. Huge damage every time.
Yeah,
again with the head kick.
Didn't land quite as clean as the other one, but it was enough to get a knockdown. And yeah, Leon needs to sort of stop throwing these overhands from too far away, because that's why Koa's able to land these head kicks.
Koa's timing and his range with his straight, with his cross, is really good. He keeps on landing that just on the tip of Leon's face. And he keeps on slamming that short left overhand into his forehead too. Another thing I noticed is that Koa's going for that low kick into the axe kick combo. If you string a low kick into an axe kick, and as soon as your leg from the low kick starts to retract, KO for Koa. If you do an axe kick, you'll basically go straight from the position your foot is at their thigh into that axe kick, already up from the ground. And you'll end up getting 4 ticks of 3-4 ticks of damage. It's another very effective combo. Koa coming in with a lot of these sort of not entry level combos, but he's coming in with a lot of these techniques that you find in advanced players. I'm not going to say that, you know, Koa's out here doing anything insane, but these combos that are coming out for him are very well timed. His perfect blocks are good. He's coming in with sophisticated combos that he clearly practiced and he learned and he studied. You know, this Koa guy's no joke, and Leon's holding his own though. He's only behind by 800 points. They have 4.5 minutes left. It's not too bad, but sort of like the last fight, it's looking like Koa's tool set his toolbox just runs much deeper than Leon's does. It just looks like he has a lot more to bring to the table, and Leon's sort of limited in the ways that he can actually hit Koa. Koa lands on his ass.
That's a ground attack. Another good head kick from Koa, countering the overhand again. Playing some really nice combos here as Leon's against the cage and gets that KO. I don't know what that means.
I don't either, but I think Koa's trying to talk shit. He's justified to do so because he's sort of ripping into Leon right now. Yeah, this is both fighters' Pro League debuts, but it looks like it's definitely going to be going Koa's way here. You know, it's looking like if anybody's walking out of their debut here with a name for themselves, it's going to be him. But we'll see what Leon can pull off in these last 3 minutes. Koa, not entirely sure what did damage there, but something about the way his hand collided with Leon's shoulder sends him flying into the air. It looks like one of those attacks where the damage is dealt as your limb is actually being retracted rather than as the animation's playing through.
Good overhand there. Nice counter by Leon. Still behind by 1,000 points, but yeah, it's unlikely, but it is possible that you can still pull this back with 2.5 minutes to go.
Not if Koa keeps on landing these neutral kicks over and over again. Doing big damage.
Yeah, I got caught with the axe kick there though. Another good overhand by Koa. Another KO. 5-3 in KOs and almost 1,500 point advantage for Koa here. Good combination here. Leon needs to get on top of these perfect blocks. Yeah, I'd like to see Leon using the neutral kicks a bit more when Koa's sort of spinning around like that.
Definitely, Koa's using the neutral kicks very effectively, and Leon is pretty much just overhand spamming.
Yeah, because the problem with the overhand is like it's a very powerful attack, but it's also quite slow. So if you're trying to counter someone with it, it's not always going to work well because they can just that neutral right kick and it's going to come out a lot faster and probably land first. Good strike by Leon there. Again. Yeah, Koa's going to win this, but those are some good strikes by Leon towards the end. Yeah, that was a good fight.
Alright. And we're trying again. The co-main event. The last fight in EU. And the co-main event of the weekend of Drunken Wrestlers 2 Pro League number 3. ToxicYugi versus the developer himself, Oleg, for a title shot against the man himself who's also commentating the fight, Hawk. This should be something else.
Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna have to pay close attention to this one. Fighting one of these players next. Yeah, Yuji's off to a good start here.
Yuji's landing overhands at the very, very edge of the range. Doing a really good job of getting his damage in while putting himself in the least amount of danger possible. Doing a good job feigning the cross so that he can come in with a hook instead. Very good timing on these feints. And he's catching Oleg a lot here in this first minute and a half here.
3 perfect blocks in a row from Oleg.
Oh, and a head kick lands, does big damage to Oleg.
Yeah.
Both players have the Heart's particle effects, but it is no love in the cage tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you that right now. Pure competition here. I don't know if there's any animosity, but there's just nothing but the most intense of competitive spirit here tonight. Both of these guys are coming in here fully convinced in their minds that losing is a 0% possibility. These are two people trying their absolute hardest to oppose their will, and we'll see who comes out on top. Oleg just barely hanging on to this last 10 HP to get Yugi down to 30. Yugi, though, again with these kicks. Now he's knocking Oleg off of his feet. He's on the ground. He walks on his head and gets the first KO. We got about a 700-point lead right now for Yugi after the first KO, and he's got 30 health left of his first life bar, so we'll see what he's able to do with that. Oleg coming in with those fancy hands, doing a lot of spinning maneuvers. Now Yugi's down to 20. Landing some good shots. Trading axe kicks. Both of them are too close to hit the other one with it. Yugi's getting sent up into the air but landing on his feet right now. It's unfortunate for Oleg that he's not getting these takedowns.
Yeah, he's sort of keeping himself up with these clinch breaks. Which is a very good way of...
Again with the head kick.
That poor balance you get when you're on low health.
Yugi's height...
Low health in this game, you do more damage with every attack, but you also trade-off is you have much worse balance, so that's why you see low health players falling over all the time.
Oh, I didn't know you had less balance at low health. That's interesting.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense though. It definitely feels like it. Just never knew it was a thing. Yeah, Yugi keeps on landing this head kick on Oleg. He keeps on hiding his head kick behind these other attacks, and he's feigning or he's coming in with the hands. And he's just getting at the perfect distance and the perfect timing to where Oleg is just eating these unprotected head kicks that are doing huge damage.
Yeah, a bit of block spam out of Oleg here.
Oleg's feeling the pressure. He needs to get his head in the game right now because Yugi's starting to piece him up.
Yeah, he's got a 1,200 point lead at the moment.
Oh, Yugi doing a cartwheel in the cage. Yeah. Impressive acrobatic feats coming out of the challenger here. Oh, they're both challengers, I suppose. One of them is going to be challenging for a belt. Guys, the stakes tonight are huge. This is the co-main event for a reason. And what a fight it's been so far in these first 5. Oleg coming in with these spinny combos, landing some good hits on Yugi, but Yugi landing all of these perfect blocks. Lots of perfect blocks. Oleg's landing some nice overhands. He just lands one right now, and then he lands a low kick that sends Yugi into the air. I was going to compliment Yugi on his perfect blocks, but Oleg's attacks are starting to break through his defense right now, and he's starting to get a little bit of damage in. That being said, though, Yugi knocks him right back down, and Oleg gets back up, has a block spam, but in return for the block spam, gets a perfect block so that the points balance each other out. 1,000 points behind for Oleg right now, but he's starting to put together these combos with the hands pretty well, and he's starting to get some good damage in.
Yugi's pressure is insane though, he's just constantly pushing Oleg back and throwing a huge number of attacks here.
Oh, Oleg gets a foot stomp, Kamaru Usman style, ends up falling on his face against the cage, and Yugi clinch breaks him to send him right back down to the ground as soon as he gets up, and then as soon as he stands up for the second time, Yugi coming in with the overhands, but Oleg with the perfect blocks coming in with counters of his own to knock down Yugi himself.
Good burning roundhouse kick from Yugi there.
What's up, Burrito?
Hey. Yeah, I was just talking to Red about this, but it looks like, I mean, Oleg's doing solid, but I feel like because he hasn't been playing as much, his block is suffering a bit. That's why he's getting some block spam. Because he's trying so hard to nail
it. If you want to join the lobby, you can make it 5 players and send you an invite.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah, because this is a good match, but I was like, as soon as I looked up, I was surprised to see Oleg's down 1,000 points. Thought it would be like a 500-point game. Oh, now it is.
5 players, sorry.
Alright.
Good job, thanks.
Failed to receive Steam invite properties. Nice.
Okay, I think it's actually 6 players now. It was 5.
Okay.
Alright, so this should work. This second invite I just sent should work. Yeah, we got 8 minutes left. Come on in.
Nope. I'm gonna restart my game.
Yeah, Oleg's Sonny's come back with some combos here.
Yugi has
Still
a little
1,000
block
point
spam of
fight,
his own.
though.
Yeah.
I'd say one consistent theme we've noticed throughout the fights tonight is that when one player is putting a lot of pressure on the other, you start to see some block spams, and block spams are a pretty good indication that somebody's cracking under the pressure. You know, if you're eating combos so fast and you're getting hit so many times that you feel the need to just spam block and prefer the safety of a block spam, even though you're going to lose points over actually trying to time the perfect block, that's how you know you're getting outclassed, right? But the thing about this fight is that there's block spams coming out of both players, right? Oleg himself is mounting up just as many combos as Yugi is, except it's just the actual blocks that are landing for Oleg just do not seem to be coming in at the same pace as Yugi. These combos are back and forth, but Yugi just seems to have a better defensive game right now, plain and simple.
Good left hook for Oleg though.
Yeah, it says there aren't enough slots still when I try to just join on your name for some reason.
Probably
Yeah,
not
when
going to
I
work
go
then.
through settings, it says max players 6 though, so I'm not sure what's going on there.
Oleg fails to block an axe kick to the pelvis. Takes big damage, gets KO'd. Yugi 15 health left, but 2 KO advantage on Oleg.
Ooh.
And a significant 1,000 point lead. Looking pretty good for Yugi going into this last 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes here.
It might
I say
just
Oleg gets
have
killed of his own.
taken Oleg a little bit longer to warm up too, because I noticed when I take some significant time off, the warm up ramp up is real.
Seems like both of the perfect blocks have proved.
Yeah, Oleg's starting to find his pace now. Trying to close that gap.
Still that 1,000 point lead. That's been sort of been staying at that number roughly. For,
Yeah, I feel like Oleg needs to start moving in on Yugi and not just throw attacks right at the limit of his range, because all he's doing is feeding Yugi that location data that Yugi needs to counter those. Because all he's got to do is throw a roundhouse at his hook and just completely throw him off.
Oleg's starting to land some big hits though. He's starting to connect with these fists and he's starting to land these kicks right now. But a lot of perfect blocks coming out of Yugi regardless.
Yeah, but look at that gap close up, man. Oh. Yugi's starting to peck at him a bit more.
Oleg's doing a much better job of having back and forth exchanges on the feet with Yugi, while simultaneously backing up enough to not catch, you know, the bad end of a combo out of Yugi. You know, Oleg's doing a very good job of throwing his hands, and then as soon as he stops and Yugi starts, he starts to back up, so that he can slip those attacks and he can get his damage in without taking damage from Yugi.
Look at how close it got. 300 points.
Oleg's starting to pick it up big time right now. This is impressive.
Yeah, both on very low health at the moment.
He made the game. It goes without saying he's top level.
Double KO.
Double KO. Wow.
But Yugi lands the critical hit with that KO, so he extends his point lead. But it's still Amon's game at this point. I mean,
oh yeah, I mean,
oh, Yugi's got the Itachi profile picture, but Oleg's coming in with that Chidori. Huge attacks coming out of these lightning fists right now. Yugi's taking massive damage, and he keeps on just smacking him over and over and over again. Now he's kicking him in the head and bringing him down to the ground. Oleg, now he's hitting the hook kick, and he's landing. He's landing and landing and landing. Oleg's offense is really starting to pick up right now. Again with the head kick. Oleg's getting into the clinch and landing these head kicks at very close range. And Yugi is just starting to crack under the pressure.
Yugi's got to be careful about being up against the cage too, because you tend to get hit twice if you get a solid hit off, because he's going to be bouncing off that cage taking some damage.
Yugi's barely holding on to his lead in the last 3.5 minutes here. This fight can really go any way. It just depends on how well Yugi's able to take his momentum back and to stop the momentum of Oleg, which is in full swing right now.
that, and is Yugi starting to feel pressure now that Oleg is building an offense?
Yeah, still about 300-point lead for Yugi, but I mean with
3 minutes or so left, yeah.
Nothing really. Like even just one critical hit could almost entirely remove this point lead.
And if Oleg can get ahead on a kill, he could spend some time chilling and recovering a little bit of health and taking advantage of the damage bonus of being at low health to really start whittling down at Yugi's health bar. Nice.
Nice kick by Yugi. Sends Oleg right out of the cage. Good left hook by Oleg. Yeah, both of them are throwing a lot of these combos that's sort of just out of range, trying to bait the other one in so they can learn a counter. Oleg's only on 2 HP right now. He's regaining it quickly. Good overhand there, counters Yugi's Beyblade. He gets the KO, there's just over 100 points difference right now.
Minute and a half left.
Yeah, but Oleg's on low health, so if Yugi can get this KO, it's going to lift him.
Unless Oleg is able to land some absolutely insane critical strikes in the next 30 seconds, it's looking like Yugi might have this one in the bag, because those KO points are about to go a long way.
I mean, he's just
no health for Oleg. Those KO points are going to go a long way for Yugi. He's walking in with a 600-point lead in the last 55 seconds of the fight, and Oleg really has to do something special here to pull this back.
Yeah, just one more critical hit like that, and the point lead is almost gone though. So it's Yugi's ahead, but
Yugi's landing these crits of his own, and he's just getting that gap. He's keeping that gap.
Good clinch break there. Sends Oleg off his feet. Oleg lands a nice overhand. Great to see both of them really fighting it out in the last few seconds. They're not no one's backing away here.
Yep, no running. Just straight slugging.
It's looking like Yugi's
and that is a victory for Yugi, defeating the developer of the game himself, Oleg, and earning himself a title shot in DW2 Pro League Fight Night number 4, the next event that we hold.
Congratulations to both fighters. That was an incredible match.
Certainly was. Yeah, so that's the end of the EU side of the Fight Night. There'll be some NA fights going on tomorrow.
Yeah, you guys got to pop out tomorrow. Hank is going to be fighting NM for the NA title, which is going to be the first title defense in Pro League history. We got a lot of other exciting fights on the card, including an exhibition between me and that little fucking rat boy, Pigeon Michu. You guys should show up. It's going to be at, I believe, midnight GMT to about 5 a.m. GMT, although the event should not take much longer than 2.5, maybe 3 hours, which is, those times are 7 p.m. CST to midnight, if you're in America, Central Time. And yeah, thanks for showing up. Those are some exciting fights. Congratulations to all the winner, and thank you to all the losers. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.